All right, we're recording. Thanks, guys, for getting on such a last-minute time frame. But this is Lauren. If you're watching the recording or listening to the recording, and I just wanted to gather us all together. And first of all, welcome Mandy for promoting to district manager. So exciting!
Thank you.
Woohoo! Welcome. You didn't even know we were having these little powwows, so now you're in the inner circle. But we try to get together every couple weeks as leaders and just, kind of get on the same page. Sometimes it's a practical Zoom. Sometimes it's a little more like, more of like addressing like the mentality behind things or the heart behind things. And really, I just wanted to get us all together and just talk about leadership, because I know that you guys know this. I don't even have to say it, but we are in so much momentum, something that I have really been striving for the past couple of months, and to really be kind of like picking up speed and gaining momentum is so huge. And what it means is like what basically kind of give you some more insider information, but what Danielle and I have been talking about a lot is Danielle Pearson, who we talk a lot like during the month, especially since Lindsay's been super busy with our house stuff. So, but I actually really like it because I've missed Danielle. But something we've been talking about is she's like, let's really be focusing on raising up leaders. There are so many people with so much potential. And so that's really been like a prayer of mine. And I know that the momentum is a result of you guys really stepping into being leaders in your own right. And there are so many of you who are really at the brink of a total explosion. We're going to go region really soon. I mean, my team catching momentum means that you guys have caught momentum. And I'm really excited for y'all to be really seeing, what I've been telling you, that, you are XYZ, you are an ENVP, and this is just a step along the way. And I feel like people are really buying into that and leaning into it. And it's showing up on web stats, on dashboard, it's showing up in your promotions, and it's showing up in your paychecks. And it's really exciting to see. So I just want you to know that you have a place on this team as a leader, but not only that you have a place at the top of this company. And I don't know if you guys know this, but at Arbonne's corporate office, there is a wall of blank. Well, there's a wall filled with like these frames. Some of them are filled with people's pictures, and the rest are blank. And that wall is basically the wall of ENVPs, of people who've promoted. So as soon as you promote to ENVP, you get your headshot put into one of the empty spaces. And that has been a visual for me. I'll try to find the picture that I have of that, but it's been a visual in my mind when I saw that picture. And just someone took a picture of like the half of the wall that had pictures in it, and like people that I knew close to me who were like had their pictures in those frames, and the rest of this super long hall was empty. And I knew that I had a place, that my picture had a place in one of those frames. And that was a really big turning point for me going region, was me believing that I had a place at the top of the company. There was nothing different between me and you, it was just my beliefs switched, and then my business followed. And I just want you to know that your picture belongs in that hall, and that the people who already have their pictures there, it's not that they have anything special about them that you don't have. There's no secrets that they have. They don't have this massive network. They are there because they started from scratch and built their way. And the cool thing is that it's really not just a select few. We are gaining so many ENVPs, people at the top of the company every single month. And I really love that. There's just room for everybody. And so I want us to be there. I want you to see yourself there. But here's something that that can sometimes happen when people are in momentum and leaders are in momentum, especially when you push for a promotion and you get there. Sometimes people are like, woohoo, and then they back off a little bit and they kind of want to coast. And the biggest thing that I want us to do right now as we are in momentum and pushing is keep the pedal to the metal. That is going to be our mantra this year, is to keep the pedal to the metal. Because you know what, when you're in consistent activity and you're not just doing bursts here and there, you're not going to be tired and it's not going to be wearing on you, and it won't be exhausting at all because you're consistent with it. You don't have to do these huge bursts of energy and then recover. If you are really consistent and you're building it up, you will not only have a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this, but when you're in activity and you're keeping the pedal to the metal, you're having a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to be in activity. And so, it's not as wearing and it's not as draining as sometimes, we think that Arbonne can be when we're just doing bursts here and there. So keep the pedal to the metal and stay consistent. And if you're looking at it or you're listening and you're like, yeah, but I'm not in momentum. Like, I'm looking at all these other people who are, and like, I want to be. Okay, if you're not in momentum and you want to create momentum, then you push. That's all you do. You say, okay, that's something that I want. I know how to get it, because if you're on this Zoom, you promoted to district manager. And there's a very famous saying in Arbonne that has definitely earned its fame. And that is, if you can go district, you can go nation. If you can be a district manager, you can be an EMVP, because you just do district over and over again. And you tell other people how to do the same thing, And so you know how to create momentum because you've been in it. So if you're looking at it and you're like, that's where I want to be, I'm telling you to push. And if you are in momentum, hear me now, you push harder. You don't take the pedal off the middle. You don't look around and see what your girls have going on. You look at yourself. You look at where you're going. Sometimes we can do this. Sometimes we can look behind us and say, wow, like, look how far I've come, which is a good thing, to look how far you've come. The problem with that is that sometimes when we look how far we've come, we're content with where we are because we got over a certain hump. And what that does is it prevents us from going over the next hump. And that is exactly the hard lesson that I learned when we went region. We had pushed and pushed and pushed. And a lot of you know that my story, but for 19 months, we would go between 35 and 42. We never went below 35 for 19 months. And it was so frustrating to be that close and not have the title. And it would just be like, we would qualify. But we wouldn't do 40,000 3 months in a row. And then we go back to 35. And then we go up to 39. And it was just so bad. So when we finally went 40,000 and then 56,000 to finish, I was like, oh my gosh, we are a region. Like, we did it. Like, we finally crossed over that hump. Okay, it's my birthday, it's Christmas. I'm going to just enjoy this new car, this title that I finally earned. And what happened is we slid back down and we started doing 30,000. It's okay. We came right back up. But I remember Carrie telling me, my third month as a regional vice president, I was like, Carrie, we did 30,000 last month. We haven't done 30,000 in 2 years. And she was like, and she just looked at me and she was like, what did your calendar look like? And I was like, well, I want to enjoy, I just want it. She's like, no, Lauren, that is just not how it goes. She's like, you absolutely, as soon as you promote, you just keep doing what got you to that promotion. If you felt like you were out of balance, you find a balance and you keep going, but you don't stop and think you're going to coast. Nobody coasts, no one coasts to the top of the company. People lead to the top of the company. And so I'm telling you this from my own experience because we have a lot of new promotions. We have a lot of people really wanting to go to the next level. And I'm telling you, if you want to create momentum, you get activity, you know that it's going to happen. It's happened before. It's going to happen again. Do the exact same thing. If you were in momentum, you push even harder than before you were in momentum. Trust me on this. And it's fun. If we step back on our activity and we kind of coast a little bit, we're taking the fun of the run. We're taking the fun out of the run. But when you're running and people running with you, keep going, keep upping the pace, because then you're going to get over that next hump and you'll promote to the top quicker than you even thought possible because you stayed consistent. And you guys, this whole, like, if you want to create momentum, you push. And then if you want to keep momentum, you push harder. This is tried and true. This is tried and true, not just in Arbonne, but all over the place. And most of you guys who know me know that I'm a huge football fan. I am not a tomboy, but I will totally claim that I love football, and I do fantasy, and I start watching football in like August, and my boys know, like, we only watch TV if Auburn's playing. So it's quite the addiction. But what I really like is that I have learned so much just about life by looking at the teams that are winning. And I love Auburn. So I follow us on ESPN. I check it like 5 times a day during football season. It's bad. Like, it's really bad. But I always want to see who the players are and what the coaches are saying. And Auburn is one of those teams that really has to work for pretty much everything. Like, we're the only college that's in the SEC that shares a state with Alabama. That's just like, they just think they're so great. I don't know why. But anyway, we have to share, like, they're number one all the time, unless we fight our way up. They get all the recruiters. Like, we just have to work really, really hard. We don't get all the talent. We have to get the leftovers and create talent out of that. And the thing that I love about our team is that our coach knows that he has to work. And every season we're always kind of underranked, which is fine, but we start underranked, and then we have to fight and claw our way to the top. And even if we win, not everyone believes in us. Not everyone will still say, like, they're overranked. They're going to lose at some point. And then we win again, and they say, well, that was a fluke. And then we win again, and maybe people start taking note of us. But in the middle of the season, if we have won all of our games in the middle of the season, that's when everyone kind of starts to take note. And you know what our coach does? He doesn't stop practicing now that we've found the winning formula, now that he's turned this mediocre team into a potentially championship team. He cuts off his players from all social media. He cuts them off from basically talking to anyone but the team and their family. They go to class, they go to practice. And he actually puts more practices and more strength training and more team building things on the calendar for them to fill in the space of what they're cutting out. Basically, what he's doing is he puts blinders on them. And he says, we are not even talking about how far we've come. We're talking about the next game. We aren't at the top yet. We haven't claimed that spot. We don't. And he always says, he's like, yeah, we celebrate that win. He's like, we celebrate that win that night for that moment. And then the next day we get back on the field and we practice harder. Because at times that we haven't done that as a team, this is what he says, like, the times that we haven't done that as a team and we've thought that the practice from last week is going to carry us through the game for next week, we've fallen on our butts. And I just learned so much just watching them and cheering them on. And sometimes I think, gosh, that is so applicable to Arbonne, that the harder you practice hard, you start to win. But when you start to win, you practice harder. And when you get to the end of the season and you've won all the games, you celebrate, and then you start spring practice again, you start training again, because there's always something next. There's always something that we can work on and be better towards. So I really just kind of want to look at that and say, as leaders, is that what we're doing? Are we zoning in? Are we keeping our blinders on? Have we limited all distractions? And distractions can be kind of like naysayers, like, oh, I know you're promoted to district, but that was a fluke. People can doubt their belief in us, and that can sometimes affect us, and a lot of times it's people within our own household. I know many of us have had struggles with doubting husbands, and that's really, really, really hard, and sometimes that has to be a blinder. You kind of have to get your blinders on from all sides. And even if no one is celebrating with you for your first promotion or maybe you bonused for the first time, if no one else recognizes that that's a big deal, you recognize in yourself and you have your moment. And, if you don't typically eat ice cream, go get ice cream. But then call someone and book activity on the drive home. You know, that's the mentality that we have. And to use one more analogy, I'm sorry, I'm totally on this like sports analogy. JD's probably like cracking up at me right now, but one more analogy is that I really love the Olympics, and I'm always watching the Olympics. And so Michael Phelps, was the captain of the swim team this past Olympics. And one of the things that he said was, he's like, I was really honored that they asked me to do it. He's like, to be honest though, I'm kind of tired. I'm getting tired of swimming, and them making me a captain pushed me to do my best and perform my best, because at team practices, I always wanted to be the first in the water and the last one out. He's like, I can't say, hey, we're going to be the swim team that wins the most medals in the world, and then tell everyone else to jump in the pool. He's like, I just jump in, I go first. And I think about that, and I'm like, is that kind of what, sometimes when I'm would be striding with like Carrie or Danielle or Lindsay or whoever it is, and they would be like, how are you doing? Like, how's your month looking? If I started rattling off everything that my team had going on, like Danielle would stop me right there, and she'd be like, no, we're gonna ask about your team later. I was asking about your month. Like, how are you doing? And I think that that's like a really good, like, if you can kind of, if you catch yourself when you're doing your struts and you're talking to your sponsor and they say, okay, let's talk about your goals, or like, what do you have going on in your business? If you're talking about your team first, then you're basically, maybe without realizing it, this is just kind of why I'm bringing it up, but sometimes, without realizing it, we're basically saying my month is riding off of my team. I'm dependent on their activity, what they've got going on, everything on my team. If you were to look at my calendar, it's kind of empty, but I've got a girl who has 8 parties. That's not okay. That's basically saying, if Michael Phelps was like, hey guys, like we're gonna crush this Olympics, we're gonna win all the medals, blah, 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 standing at the edge of the pool. And then if he's like, so are you gonna jump in? I'm not jumping. I don't even have a swimsuit. I didn't even bring my goggles, but I'm going to get him. You guys jump in, you start your swimming, you're all prepared. That's good. Like, I'm going to go and I'll be right back. You see what I'm saying? Like that kind of, we have to set the example for our team, and we have to be the first one in and the last one out. And all of this, obviously, you see where I'm going. You see like kind of what I'm running with. And it's just that if you want your business to grow steadily, you need to constantly be in the water. You need to be constantly doing the stuff that brings you to where you want to go. And we know those things. We know the system for success. I don't know why sometimes we psych ourselves out saying like, I know I just need a book. I just don't know why I'm not. Why is that something that we don't want to do? Because your funnest times in Arbonne have been when you're in the most activity. I can say that. I don't care who listens to this 10 years down the road. If I haven't even met them yet, I can guarantee you your funnest months in Arbonne have been when you're in the most activity, and when you're seeing your dreams start to take place and the hard work starting to pay off. And so, don't complicate it, and don't think like, I know I need to do this. Like, I just need to do it. Yeah. Like, do it because it's fun, and because you like it. And because, like Michael Phelps was saying, like it brought back the joy of swimming. Like, I started to lose it, but when they elevated me to that captain position, and I knew that I was what I was expected to do, I'm so glad they gave me that honor, because it reminded me, you know what? I do love this. This is fun. And they pushed me to be a better leader because they saw that I'm a leader. And I want you to see like that you are a leader, that you are good at this, that you have the potential and everything that you need to go to the top of the company and have your picture in a long line of successful people, and you will have people on your team have their pictures up there beside you. That's the exciting thing, is that when we go, we're inviting other people to go with us. And so let's look at like what we have going on. I want you guys to get out there. I want you guys to be meeting new people. I want you to look at your weekly schedule, your summer schedule, or whatever. Are you getting out there? Is there a consistent pattern that you have where you're putting yourself in groups of people where you're going to be meeting new people? That is something that is important to Arbonne, and even if, if you work and you have a family at home, let's still figure out how can we kind of up your social circle, to where you're getting life poured into you from being around other people, but you're also expanding your network out there. So are you getting out and about? Are you talking to the people that you currently know? Are you making acquaintances out of contacts and friends out of acquaintances? Let's get down to the practicals of what this is and what creates a winning team. I want you to look and see how much are you out there practicing and how much are you just kind of staring at the field saying, yeah, we're going to practice. Yeah, we're going to practice. Or are you going out there and saying, I don't care who joins me, but I'm going to get out on this field and I'm going to start practicing. And I know that eventually my team will come. That's exactly what we do. And so when we're looking at their activity for the rest of June, you guys, if you have a team that is exploding, the best thing you can do for them is to have a lot of personal parties and to sponsor even more people. That is the best thing that you can do for them. Trust me on this. If you don't have a team, or if you have a team that's not exploding and they're kind of standing around being like, I don't know, I'm tired, I'm sore, I didn't play well the last game, now my confidence is shattered, whatever, then what you do is you step out there and say, guys, me too, but I'm pushing past that because I've done this before and I'm going to do it again. And next time I do it, it's going to be for area. And then after that, it's going to be for region. And after that, it's going to be for nation. So trust yourself, no matter how you're feeling right now, no matter what your calendar looks like right now. It is June 8th. I mean, if I signed up someone on June 8th, I would be like, you have the entire month. And I would mean it from the bottom of my heart. There is so much time for you to do so much and to pack your calendar with things that are going to lead you into momentum. And if you're in momentum, there's so much time for you to continue to be the leader that got your team to where you are right now. So that's really what's been on my heart. We have these Facebook Lives coming up. I really do. I have those there for you guys because I know that the people who get people on those Facebook Lives, those are going to be the ones who bonus and promote. It's just a numbers thing. So if you don't really know where to begin, I would say begin with that. Invite people to listen to our healthy living, and invite people to listen to our opportunity. And the great thing is that all you have to do is invite and follow up. I'm going to do all the work for you. And if you need help, just, saying, okay, so I'm at square one, tell me what to do. Reach out to me, reach out to your area manager. That's totally what we're here for. And I have been there so many times. There's so many times where I've looked at it and been like, I have nothing going on this month. What do I do? And I've been there as a district area and even as a regional vice president. You're going to have times in your business where you just look around and you don't know what to do next. That's okay. That's what we're here for. But you set your sights on that momentum. And if you don't have a winning team right now, you go out there and practice until you are the winning team, until you are consistently having a good month after month after month. And if you are in that consistent winning team right now, you just pedal to the metal, girl. Harder, 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 because I promise you it's going to pay off. And I promise you it's the best thing you can do for your team. So anyway, you guys, I want to go ahead and wrap this up. It's been about 25 minutes, which is usually what I try to keep them to. But thank you so much for hopping on. I'm going to end the recording and post this to our little Facebook thread. And yeah, I'm totally here for you if you need any ideas, any support, any encouragement. Thank you guys. I love you a lot.
Thanks, Lauren.